Hello everybody out there in YouTube land, Noodle here, and we're back. We're back in Testificadia, back again for another week. Hope you guys enjoyed the long weekend of Sim City. I'll be honest, I didn't record enough Let's Plays, and for that, I apologize. But hey, you know what? You guys got an extra Sim City this weekend, so I hope you guys appreciate that. Threw off my scheduling a little bit, but you know, hey, I do it all for you guys. At least that's what I say anyway. All right, so first things first, we got to go ahead and we have to get our pick up and going. I'm going to get rid of this fucking wood pick, too, while we're at it. And do we have any furnaces? We do. We have some furnaces. I'm going to go ahead and drop all this unnecessary shit that I have in my inventory right now. We're not really going to need any of this. Well, I might need the wood. But we're not going to need, like, half slabs and this shit. All right, we got plenty of food. We got some birch wood. That's fine. Got some dirt. Dirt can't hurt. I'm going to go ahead and make a shovel, or at least 2 shovels. Because, remember, we're going to go back down to the mines. We have to get a lot of stone. Stone is our #1 target and priority. But then, of course, you know, all other minerals and stuff are necessary as well. It's nighttime, but since I'm going to be underground, I suppose I should probably set my... my timer here. So here we go. I'm going to set the timer, hit and start button right meow. Okay, so the last video I was talking about, I kind of ranted on a little bit about religion and my opinions about it, and somebody out there asked me if it would be too much of a taboo subject if I were to talk about my religion. No, absolutely not. It is not a taboo subject. I'm super stoked. I always like talking about religion. I like sharing knowledge about religion, especially my own, since mine is often misunderstood in general. So we'll go ahead and be covering that. But I do kind of have to put out a warning. My story isn't very straightforward. Because to kind of understand why I would even... What the fuck is that? Is that gold? I've never seen that before. Hello? Hello, what are you? Oh, that is gold. Oh, okay, sweet. Sorry, this texture pack, it fucking threw me off. Okay, so apparently we got gold, everybody. That's awesome. Let me just go ahead and mine all this up. Alright, so to kind of understand how I went from being Catholic to being what I am now, you kind of have to, like... hear the story from the very beginning, and this may cover several episodes. So gather around, children, for the next few days. Take a shower in between my stories, please, and I will recant the tale of my religious journey, and how it is that I, you know, came to believe what I believe now, how it makes sense to me, and then of course, we'll go into describing exactly what all the religious practices are. And stuff like that. All right, so first and foremost, let's go ahead and establish a baseline to this story. I can actually remember my exact age when I first started my religious journey. That's how important it was to me. And I was 12 years old. 12, yay. I don't often remember how old I am in situations like this, as you guys know, but I do remember this quite clearly. And I remember it because I guess maybe it was just a monumental moment in my life that I just kind of, my eyes were opened. As you guys may have gathered from the various clues that I dropped, just basically stating that I was Catholic. I was born and raised Catholic. Yay! I was baptized when I was a little babby. And we never really went to church that much. My mom used to work a lot. I think she worked all the time. My stepdad isn't very religious at all. My biological father, he was, but he was more spiritual than anything else. He most certainly didn't prescribe to a church. Sorry, I'm also smoking my hookah now. So if I suddenly just stop talking mid-sentence, it's because I decided I'm going to smoke my hookah. All right, so... Anyway, so he was more into spiritualism and Native American shamanism, which means he didn't just go to church. He just didn't do anything at all. He didn't actually know what he was doing. So yeah, that was my religious basis. So like the only times that I would ever go to church, really, was see, I knew I needed this wood. The only time I would ever go to church is when my family would take me, and not like my mom and my stepdad, but like my external family, like my aunts. I had an aunt that used to spoil the ever living shit out of me, and in fact, she still does. And she is very religious. Her family used to go to church all the time. So like if I would go hang out with her because she would like feed me chicken nuggets and let me watch cable TV and just run crazy and be a spoiled little asshole in her house. And I like that. What kid doesn't? But the price I had to pay was if I was there during the weekend, which I often was, I would have to go to church with her and her family. And, you know, like I guess not her family, my family, my cousins and stuff. So I was forced to go. And I remember that I never liked going to church. I never did. Most kids don't like going to church. They find it boring. And I know there's the odd child out there, maybe one of my listeners, maybe one of them, where you just really like going to church. Like you've always liked going. You felt very spiritual there. I myself felt like a fucking empty shell going to church. It did nothing for me. I was just bored and I didn't understand what was going on. I mean, I knew about the religion. I knew what we were supposed to do. You stand, you sit, you kneel, you stand, you sit, you chant. You're supposed to sing a song, but you can never find it in the goddamn book that they give you. So you just kind of hum along while like the old people actually sing the songs because they've been going to church long enough to like memorize where it is in the book. I just lost all that cobble. I'm so fucking good at this. Oh man, this is deep. So yeah, I was never good at church, and that's just the way it was. Now, as I got a little bit older, and this is like when I hit 12 years old, I remember I was sitting in church with my aunt, and I looked behind us, and there was like these little rooms off to the side. I always wondered what they were, and I finally just got the balls enough to ask my aunt. And I was like, "What the fuck is those rooms over there?" I didn't actually cuss, mind you. I'm paraphrasing. And she was like, "Oh, those are confessionals." And I'd known about confessionals because I grew up with horror films, so like The Exorcist and stuff like that. Like, okay, I understood. I was like, "Oh, those are confessionals." Okay, you go in there and whatever, but I didn't really understand how they worked. In movies, everybody goes in there and they're like, "Father, I've sinned," and then like they kind of run off on a tangent. They never really do what they're actually supposed to do in there. The priest is usually mortified or freaked out, or it's like, "I can't help you," or like they're spies and it's like, "You're not dragging me back into this game." Like it has nothing to do with religion. So I asked her, I was like, "So what exactly did they do there?" And this was her explanation, give or take, word for word. She was like, "Well, you go in there, and there's a screen so the priest can't see you, so he doesn't know who you are." I was like, "Okay." And then you confess your sins. Okay. And she says, and then once you confess your sins, then the priest will tell you what you have to do, and then God will forgive you. Most people would just kind of accept that answer and be like, "Okay, yeah, that sounds good to me." But I didn't. I was like, wait, hang on. So I go in this room, right? She's like, "Yeah." And then I confess my sins, right? Okay. And then who forgives me? And she was like, "Well, God does." And I was like, "Okay, so why am I talking to a priest?" And she's like, "Well, silly, that's because he tells you what you have to do in order to get God's forgiveness." And I was really confused. She was like, "Well, okay, like let's say like you lied or you cheated on a test. He would say that you have to say 10 Hail Marys and 4 Our Fathers, and then that'll be enough to forgive your sins." Now at this point, I'm in my head at the time, I remember calling bullshit. Like, there's a fucking formula for me cheating in school. Like, there's certain things I have to do in order to be forgiven. By who? By God? Like, then in my head, why didn't God just forgive me? Why can't I just pray to God and be like, "Hey, God, I really am sincerely sorry, for doing the things I did. I hope that you can forgive me." and then I feel like a sense of redemption. But yeah, that's not the way it works. A priest tells you that you do this and then you're forgiven, and everybody's like, yeah, I'm forgiven, and he gives you your blessing. And I didn't understand why a priest was necessary. And she could obviously see my confusion. So I remember that she sat me down with the priest, who was really cool with her family. And the priest was actually really cool. He was really patient, I remember, for me being fucking playing devil's advocate. I didn't mean the pun, Pinky. I'm not stepping on your territory. But I remember he sat down and he was like, well, it's not really like a formula. It's more like, a show of compassion that you do these things. It's like a sacrifice that you say these prayers. And I was like, well, why should you sacrifice anything? And I never could understand it. And then once again, he couldn't really explain to me why you needed a priest there in the first place. His basic explanation was because priests live in the house of the Lord and are the closest to the Lord, and therefore can relay his message. And I was like, okay, so you talk to God? And he's like, well, we all talk to God. So then we start talking in circles. And I didn't understand. And basically what it boiled down to, he had to get fucking like biblical on me. And he had to say, listen, kid, a long time ago in the Bible, it says that what is true on earth is true in heaven. So me as a representative of God, and he's talking about himself, if I say that you are forgiven for your sins as a representative of heaven, then therefore you are forgiven of your sins. Okay, so basically whatever rules you make up on earth is okay? Do you guys kind of see where I'm getting with this? Now, I'm not trying to say this to make anybody question their faith, but I do want people to like kind of realize, see where I'm coming from. Like I'm not trying to intentionally be an asshole. Like I didn't understand this concept of as it is on earth as it is in heaven. It's like, so basically the church can just make up rules as long as you're the Pope and God has to abide. But if we're able to make up rules, the entire universe is based off of the fact that God is infallible, that God can't make mistakes. Well, that's true. Maybe God can't make mistakes, but people can sure as fuck make mistakes. And if people can make the rules, then what the fuck? Like, I mean, do you guys kind of see where I'm coming from on this one? So, like, that immediately had me questioning my faith, like, immediately. And I was like, okay, well, this isn't fucking working out for me. And the more I looked at Catholicism, the more that didn't make sense. Like, the irrational fear of being bullied into being a good person. I'm pretty sure many of you have heard this argument before of that a lot of Catholicism is about scaring people into doing the right thing. Look, you're either a good person and you get rewarded for your efforts, or you burn in hell for all of eternity and you suffer and die and burn and be tortured forever and ever and ever and ever and ever because you decide that you're going to sleep with your next door neighbor's fucking wife. Like, that seems like a harsh punishment. And in reality, a lot of the big churches, not bashing any of them, if it's your faith, man, to each his own, but I find that a lot of them are just there to manipulate and control the populations. And that's why a lot of people are really against the government and religion mixing together. That's why they say religion and politics shouldn't go together. They shouldn't be anywhere close to each other, because the last time the church took over anything, that was during the Dark Ages, and everybody was being tortured and murdered for no reason. So obviously I had a problem with being Catholic. And to me, it was like a simple math equation. And Queen Cato, I think you can back me up on this one, math, being that you just took your algebra exams. And good luck to you on your scores. I know you said that you think you did really well. I hope you did. I hate math, and I would hate for you to have to like take retests or whatever they do nowadays. So yeah, good luck to you on that one, and I really do hope that you did really well. So there you go. Shout out to you. But you have to remember that at the time, I wasn't well versed in religion. And you could say, well, Noodle, you could just Google up religions. Well, no, I couldn't. See, back in the day when I was that age, the internet was a little babby, and there were websites out there. We had email, but it was new. It was a new concept. This is when you were still explaining to your parents how to turn on a computer. Many of you out there have parents that are computer literate, more so than you'll ever be. Well, maybe not. I mean, technology is leaving everybody behind, but you know what I'm saying. So this was like, I was in that weird middle era where, yes, we had the computer and you could use it to look up things, but the websites weren't there. They weren't built yet. The information wasn't there. Wiki wasn't even fucking around. Not that that's a reliable source, but like, so you still had to do a majority of your research by going to the library, which, by the way, I never learned the Dewey Decimal System, so fuck you if you did. Like, I never could understand that shit. And some of you out there are like, what the fuck's a Dewey Decimal System? Don't worry about it. It's way before your time. Anyway, how about giving me a like if you remember the fucking Dewey Decimal System? How about that? So, there I am, whoring for likes again. I'm sorry, everybody. So, I mean, you have to understand, like, I didn't have any, like, other religions that I could really go to besides the basic foundation of what I already had, which was Catholicism, which means that just like in Minecraft, where we, like, in our little town, in Testificadia, if we're going to rebuild a place, it's much easier just to go in and use the existing foundation and use the existing building. Just tear down the walls, throw up a fucking splash of paint, change some windows around, and the building looks brand new and looks even better. But you keep the foundation because that's a really good starting place. And that's the way I started researching my religions was, okay, obviously I have a problem with being Catholic. And I don't know any better, so maybe it's being Catholic that's bad. I mean, the idea of God sounds good. The idea of Jesus Christ sounds okay. Like, so maybe it's just being Catholic. Maybe I should find something else. So I began doing some research, and of course, I started researching the things that were the closest to, which is Christian. I remember going to Christian churches. I remember going to Baptists. I even went so far as to go to Protestant houses of worship. And I kind of found the same flaws there that I did in going to Catholic seminars and stuff like that. Like, it just... things didn't make sense to me, and there was a lot of unnecessary things that people did that I felt that were just fucking unnecessary. And I don't have a perfect example for every single place that I went to. I wish I did, but at the time I did, and there were just different things that I just couldn't get into or understand, and so I just abandoned them. And I was like, okay, this equation doesn't fit, so I should keep looking and keep looking. Once I kind of ran out of those religions, something that was the closest to Catholic, I started branching off into, I was like, well, maybe it's my foundation is wrong. I'm going to start tearing it apart a little bit and see if I can change things. Just like we did with the guard shack, we're going to start changing the building. And I was like, okay, well, what other religions out there worship God? Well, the next closest one really is Mormon. So I started researching being a Mormon and all the things they did, and yeah, I didn't agree with it. It was just something about the story, man. The story doesn't make sense to me. If any of you guys seen the South Park episodes of Mormon, I mean, that's basically the fucking story in a nutshell. They did a pretty good job telling it, and it doesn't make sense. He put the stone tablets in a hat, and he read them out of a hat, but nobody else can see them. Dude, shit sounds made up. If you're Mormon, more power to you, man. Mormons are really cool people. I've met a lot of cool Mormons who are really, really, really great about their faith. But dude, you can buy it. I can't. Sorry. My rationality is too jaded for that, for miracles. So no to Mormonism. That, and they had the whole bigamy thing that was getting really big during that time period, and they were getting a lot of bad press, and And it's not that I wanted to be like, oh, Mr. Popular with religion, but I don't know, man. It just seemed like if there were so many people there bashing how wrong it is, I mean, there must be something wrong with it. Obviously, there isn't now. It's all a matter of perspective. It really is, and to each his own. So any devout Mormons out there, good job to you. Good job for keeping the faith. What else was there? Oh, and then like from there, I kind of ran out of religions, man. I was like, well, what the fuck else is out there? There's Jews. Do they believe in God? Well, they most certainly do. And you would not believe how fucking close the Jewish religion is to Catholicism. It's like one step away. They just don't have Jesus. And so I started looking into being Jewish, and there were things in there that I couldn't get into. And I have to say, dude, the Jewish religion is really intense, like super intense, like way more knowledge and study and learning than I care to do. I'm going to say I flaked out of being Jewish because I was lazy. I'll put it that way. If you have any devout Jews out there, like Orthodox Jews and like who like do all the stuff, like, dude, like, whoo, Hebrew, whoo, like that was insane. Like, I went to, like, I don't know what it's called, temple, I think, Jew temple, Jew pyramid. I don't know. If you're Jew, don't unsubscribe. But I went, and it was a really cool thing, man. Like, it was pretty awesome. I like the services. Oh God, there we go. That's my alarm. I like the services. I thought it was cool, but it wasn't for me, man. Something about it, it was closer to what I wanted in a religion, but it was still far enough away that I had to continue my quest. Okay, so we went ahead and we got ourselves a little bit of iron. It's cooking over there. We got a fairly decent amount of stone here. It's not a lot, I'll be honest. Is this charcoal? Okay. So we'll go ahead, and when we come back, we'll go ahead and continue our mining operation until I fill up my inventory. And then we'll go ahead. In fact, I'm just gonna go ahead and use this. There. That one piece of wood was bothering me. All right, and then we'll go ahead and we'll continue my story. I last left off. I was Jewish for a little bit. No, I wasn't. I didn't actually convert to Judaism yet. We will go ahead and come back with that story. I hope this is somewhat entertaining and somewhat enlightening for you. I hope some of you can relate. And even if you can't, I hope you can at least understand what I was going through. And, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and probably label these like Noodle's religious topics. So, I mean, if any of this really offends you and you're just getting so angry at my opinion, and you want to unsubscribe, then fuck it, do it. Like, I'm not going to stop you. I'm not going to sit here and barter with you. But I will say that's a really shitty reason to unsubscribe. I give you lots of entertainment just because you don't agree with 100% of everything I say. You don't have to. But hey, you know what? To each his own, whatever. These are always really touchy subjects for everybody. So I hope you can just sit back and just listen to a story in complete neutrality. And I do want to make one thing very clear. When I say, and I'm going to say it later on in the series, and I'll remind everybody then too. I'm going to say things like, I think it was wrong, or the religion doesn't make sense, or the religion just seemed flaky. I don't mean that the religion in total. I mean the religion to me, in my point of view. So, I mean, if you're Jewish and I'm like, dude, I don't know, Jews are just kind of flaky. I'm not like saying that Jews are flaky. I'm saying that in my point of view, the Jewish religion was flaky to me. So yeah, I just want to go ahead and clarify that and get that out the way so people aren't like unintentionally upset. It's kind of like stepping on fucking toes talking about religion, because you never know who's going to be super offended at what you're going to say. And not that I really give a shit if I offend people, because I don't know any of you out there. But that's most certainly not my intent, I should say, is to piss people off. If I really want to piss people off, I'd do it, but I don't really want to, so... When we come back, we're going to go ahead and continue my story. We're going to go ahead and continue getting more stone. That bat just came out of fucking nowhere. Yeah, I'll leave it be. And yeah, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If this is interesting, let me know. If it's fucking boring, let me know. And yeah, I will catch you all on the next video. So peace out.